Um, Hey, you meant what I knew.
Don't gavel your laptop.
Okay, I will call this meeting to order of the Committee of the Whole, March 3rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Boyk? Here. Hill?
Here.
Frisbee?
Here.
Sorensen? Here. Nigber?
Here.
Stubby? Here. All present.
Thank you. We do not have any
Virtual.
virtual attendees. Number 3, pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will move on to the general public comments, which there are none. Number 5 is the approval of minutes from the February 3rd, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting and the closed session minutes from February 3rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion by Terry, second by Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 6 is discussion of boathouse and South Adams Avenue right-of-way. Recommendation is discussion and action as appropriate. I will, do you want to call Brian right away? Or wait until after we have
Just you
discussion?
guys, if you want to give a summary first, or you just want to jump in, up to you.
Did everybody have a chance to take a look at the packet, to review what we're discussing? And see the picture? I do have Brian's number to call him to answer any questions.
Was information from the 2013, 2014 was Shire located?
Yes, I got a packet from, it matches the story that was received from Mr. Brock that basically in 2013, 2014, the then zoning administrator noted that there was work going on there and asked them to stop because they believed it to be the right of way. At that time, they did not find any documentation that actually granted them any permission to be there or to have built there. Don't know the history, how long it had been there or anything like that. They have been paying personal property taxes on the boathouse, fishing shack, whatever you should refer to it as, for a number of years.
Prior to 2013, 14?
Yes, however, that's not property tax, personal
For the
property, just
building.
the building itself, exactly. Since that time, we no longer collect personal property tax. But, at that time, the council, although I did not find any official minutes that with a motion, I can find that they went into closed session, but I can't find any, motion as to what to do. However, both parties, the attorney and Mr. Brock said that he's told to, apply for a right-of-way permit and do the whole harmless agreement and have insurance on file. And he was told to do that quarterly. He did that quarterly for a number of years, and then at some point, I don't know why, it switched to annually a few years ago. So,
But he's currently meeting all the requirements,
As far as,
as far as,
having insurance and a hold harmless agreement?
yes,
yes.
he is.
My thought is that this, as you mentioned, it's a privilege, not a right. So he's been given a permission, but that permission is not carry overable or sellable with the property. Like it's something that was given specifically to him. So I would,
It's our property, that's the
Right.
problem.
the property being the boathouse is what I meant, not our land. But the permission granted to him does not travel with that piece of that item. So I would say if he decides to sell, it's gonna revert and then be either a raise and remove or
Our attorney instructed that he would have to remove it if,
Absolutely, actually, the statute actually says that for a privilege, you have to remove it within 10 days of written notice. It can be revoked at any time. So there is absolutely no right to this. It was a privilege granted by the council. Currently, that annual permit that he took out would expire this September. Again, you can revoke that at any time, but he currently has a permit through,
do we need to use that to get some?
It could be continued just as status quo,
September
though,
28th,
correct?
2026.
at the discretion of the council.
Okay. We can keep just humming along status quo,
We can,
just too,
our attorney would.
The reason this was brought up was because he wanted to sell it.
right?
And our current attorney, I would suggest perhaps looking at a different form than the right-of-way permit. But again, that's at your discretion to provide some additional clarity and coverage to the city, if you wish to allow it to remain.
I'd like to see it stay there. I'll say it right now.
I guess I have an issue with this being there because what happens, what's to say somebody else isn't gonna come in here and ask to put one right next to it? There's no reason nobody couldn't at this point.
If they had a permit and met all the requirements, sure, why not?
They would have to come before the council and they would have to agree to it. So
Exactly.
that could maybe fit, what, 2 more? I don't know. I still think it's a liability and
The insurance is there, so if anybody were to be on that property, correct, they would be covered under this well, I don't see property owners, building owners insurance.
that
I
gets
think it
scary
depends on
because
the
it's just a building
circumstances.
that's insured.
Yeah, that's hard to answer without knowing the circumstances or what might come, but,
Or what the insurance policy says.
right? But,
So another question, what is it a right of way to?
it is the right of way of South Adams Street. It is the end of that road.
Right to the river?
Yes.
But these other properties are here with a line.
These are actual properties. These are owned.
No, I know that. Yep.
Right. This portion here is street right of way that belongs to the city. Yes. These are not, these are private property.
So we don't know how he got the boathouse out there in the first place? Like, there's no record of like how he got permission? to do that?
He went back and I can call, would you like me to call him at this point?
No, I'm
Okay.
just curious if you
So-
guys know.
Yeah, we did talk with him and he said that it was, a family heirloom, like it was passed down from generation to generation. Probably done on a handshake back in the, when the railroad was here. And then nothing was ever documented, but he had no, concrete proof or black and white evidence that there was a deed or anything like that years ago. And nor did the county find anything. I believe it was the county who he went through. Yeah, they could not determine anything history-wise.
I think I'm in agreement with the attorney, like if he wants to keep it in status quo and we keep approving the privilege for him to keep it there, but there's no transfer or sale of a lease or permission from one owner to the next.
Yeah, the options here are wide open. It's the discretion of the council. I would note that at this point, it's an interesting precedent, as Sam had said, like, we don't have anything that gave them permission to do it, so, it's an awkward
That's already
situation.
been, that's already been approved. I mean, that's not really what's in question here, right?
Right, what's in question is can he transfer that lease if he wants to sell the structure?
But it's not a
the
lease.
It's,
It's not a. there's
Right,
no
that's why I said lease, because
Right,
that's how he termed it here,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what he asked for.
or that we could continue the permit to whoever he chooses to sell the building to.
I think they would have to reapply as a new person.
Well, yeah, sure.
Well, technically, he has to reapply annually anyway.
Anyway, right.
And he's no right to that permit. You can choose not to reissue it, or you could choose to revoke it at any time as well. There's no guarantee of that permit. Just so I mean, it's completely at your discretion for that.
Now, what about selling that property?
You
can't sell the property.
It's not his to own.
No. Can the city sell the property?
So
It's not,
if we vacated it, normally that goes to the adjoining property owners when you vacate it right away.
because it's a right of way, it's not a parcel. The issue is that it's not a parcel.
Right, I mean, we would have to do a lot more work to find out if there are any circumstances that could make that possible, but the general is no, when you vacate a parcel, it goes to the adjoining property owners.
Has to.
I've never heard of it not, so like I said, I would have to pay the attorney to look into, see if there's any way to do it, but normally when you vacate a parcel, it goes to your abutting property owners.
Does it look like the structure can just be moved? Or would it basically be destroyed?
So
It's been there
back
for
back
a
in-
long time.
Yeah, so.
Back in 2013, 2014, the building inspector opined that it could be, but that was a long time ago. I mean, they may have made several changes. I don't know if the current building inspector would have the same opinion.
I think I'm gonna call Brian just to see if he has any other questions or anybody has questions for him. I told him we would call him during this portion, so I'm gonna give him a jingle.
Is, under the permit, is he allowed to make any improvements or does it stay as is?
So again, the permit was like a street use permit. It was not a lease, it was not anything like that. It was, from our understanding, it was the best they could come up with at the time. Oh, hey, let's make it a street use permit.
So there were no restrictions
Yes,
put on
street
it on whether or
privilege
not
and
you
special
could make
events.
improvements or
Yeah.
changes or anything.
That's what I could find. I couldn't find any official motion whatsoever.
So it'd be safe to say that like there is no transferring or anything?
There's nothing to transfer.
Then if he were to sell it, that person who bought it would have to come before council to ask if they could have the same.
In my opinion, if he sold the building would have to be moved before he sold it, because that person would no longer have a permit to be there.
Right.
So if they keep that
Then they'd have 10 days.
property there, they would then should be getting fined or whatever until they have a permit approved.
So if you had a seller that was, or a buyer that was interested, that buyer would need to come before council to see if they could have a similar situation prior to purchasing it.
The comment that he also made was that if the sale was going to be the issue or whatever the case was, he would just continue it as is. And even though he was moving out of state, he would continue to just keep it and have family maintain or whatever the case was. But again, that is assuming that the city would continue to honor that permit yearly, annually.
There'd be no reason to not honor that permit annually, right? Because he's met all the requirements that was asked of him.
I don't know that we even have proof of that. We don't have the minutes. We don't even have the minutes actually approving him to be there. It was basically just, if you fill this out, sure.
And those minutes are just gone.
They were never taken.
I never found a motion from the council. I never found a motion. So
There was no action taken that was documented.
I mean, it has been continued on since 2014. But honestly, that's at the council's discretion as well. You can continue, or you can say, no, we're revoking it now. You can say, no, we're not going to grant a new permit in September. You know, you can say, we are not going to grant a permit to anyone else. I mean, you can say whatever you think is in the best interest
I mean,
of
I guess
the community.
I don't remember approving a permit for this.
I was gonna say,
So-
once
it's approved once, a lot of times it doesn't come back to council, it
It's
just
just
continues.
been continued every year.
I have a question for streets. This right of way off of Adams, South Adams, is that boathouse in the way of any access that's needed?
We do have two storm sewer outfalls on each side of it. So if we had to do repairs there, it could be a problem that way, but as far as the street use, no.
Okay. So that's just access to those storm sewer outfalls?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Scott, you can stand back up.
She waited.
She has another question.
She's got another question.
Sorry. I was trying to figure out how to word it. How many other right-of-way access areas are there like this in the city to the river?
That's a good question. There should be one down on Darling Street off of 49 North, or North Wisconsin, or Washington, I'm sorry. Obviously, there's no structures there, we just have our outfall there. That's the only one that comes to mind right now.
So somebody could come here and say they want to put a structure there? Is there room for one? I'm trying to avoid this happening in multiple circumstances and then us having a problem on other property areas.
Based on prior
Based,
acceptance.
yes.
Right.
So again, you allow it for one person, and this is gonna be happening in other areas of the city, and it can possibly at some point become a problem. Not to anyone's fault, it could be an accident.
I mean, and another piece of this is right of way is public way, right? So, I mean, if you would be, in essence, giving somebody sole use of public space.
Right, because I'm sure not just anybody can go into the boathouse and.
Is that an actual house or is it just?
There's a,
It's a place to get out of the rain.
Okay.
It is a physical structure.
Yeah, no, it's.
I know, I just
no one
went from
lives in
the
it.
aerial, looks like just a deck.
Looks like a landing, but
This is the structure part, and then that's the.
Yeah, I think more like a fishing.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah, it's very
access.
nice.
You can go in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice looking structure,
It is.
but yeah, I don't, boathouse is a pretty generous term, it's not that big.
oh, thanks.
Oh, just a little shit.
anybody else want to say it?
Oh, I've seen it a lot.
Okay, I am going to call Brian.
I don't think he's probably.
Oh, it's Brad.
Hey Brian, it's Katrina.
Right, how you doing?
Good, have you been listening in?
I didn't know the number to call into, so no, I was not able to.
So it was on, it's live on YouTube. So we've just discussed, the papers that were on, the agenda and, all of the items listed in the packet. Kind of went over everything. Does anybody have any questions for Brian right off the bat?
Brian, is the structure mobile? Can it be moved?
The mobile, yeah,
Yes, can it be moved?
trying to think of the best answer, yes and no. So it's not on a concrete slab. However, it's not like your traditional shed that you can just slide off of there because there is some supports in it
And is there public access to that, or is that a private access?
What was that?
Is it public or private access to that,
Public or private access to it?
to the building?
It's private access to is that what you're,
Yes, yep,
is inside the building?
yes.
Yeah, so they have a lock on the building, so nobody, it's secure.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
How did this agreement become an agreement?
Brian, can you, I don't know if you heard Christina, but can you give a little background on what your knowledge is of how this agreement became, or any history that you can recall?
Like I said, I know that the original structure, has been there for a significant amount of time. How that came about, I don't know. I think I would be guessing, like I said, I think where you guys had mentioned that that's kind of where the railroad ends. If it was some deal with the people in the railroad, I don't know. That would make somewhat sense considering it's at the end, but I wouldn't say that's exactly what happened because I don't know. But like I said, if somebody had a map of the city or searched the archives far enough, I would say the original structure, wherever that was there, had been there for, I'm guessing at least from the 70s, 1970s or older.
Did Brian, did you purchase this building then from someone?
So yeah, the building had been in my family, for quite some time, so I had shared with Katrina and them that, it started out with my great uncle had it, and then he had sold it to my father, and then my father and, my grandmother's boyfriend Dave had kind of went in together to kind of improve the dock and stuff like that. With that, my dad had passed away, so I kind of got my dad's share, and then Dave had passed away too, so then I kind of became the primary person of it and has been taking care of it and renewing the lease and everything with the city. I mean, since all that happened.
Brian, there was a mention that you might be moving. If this permission, this street use permission is not transferable, how would you be maintaining that from a distance?
I'm sorry, you're breaking
So,
up.
yeah, she asked if indeed you were moving, who or what would the plan be to maintain the property if you would not be in the state?
So, like I said, best case scenario is I would like to consider transferring the property to somebody else. That would be what I would like to see to have happen. If not, then obviously I have extended family and stuff that's in the rural area that would be able to continue to maintain it.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions or ideas of how to move forward?
Have we had any issues, complaints, or anything happen over the years that this has been there?
Not that we found on, not that we have on record anyways.
No, not since the 2013, 2014 timeframe when they were doing some work on it, and they had them stop at that point to figure out what was going on. That's the only thing I found. Which is not a complaint.
And my general feeling about this is that I can appreciate the fact that this is kind of a family heirloom that's been passed down over generations, and it's been a boon to the family to have it. But if Mr. Brock is going to be moving away and is looking to kind of offload it or transfer it to another person, I think that is the city's opportunity to reclaim that right of way that should be in existence, that a gentleman's agreement allowed to just kind of let that stay there for the while. But if it's no longer gonna be in the family and, you know, kind of that losing some of that sentimental value, then I would agree with, our member, Ms. Stubby over here, that we don't really need to be setting that precedent.
I like to see it the way it is. Even if Brian does carry on with a permit, or at least owning the property and reapplying for the permit annually. Brian, there's no way to sell that property, being a right of way, even if it were to be sold, it would, split to the adjacent property owners on either side of that right of way. That's, kind of like a, I don't know if it's not a statute by any means, is it?
It is.
I believe it is.
Okay, all right, well, that's a statute then, Brian.
I don't know if there are any circumstances that allow something else or not, but as I understand right away, that's what normally happens when it's vacated.
But if you were to keep it and keep it rolling, that'd be another situation.
We still
All
don't have
right,
to
I like
grant
that.
access.
I'm open to whatever suggestions you guys are willing to provide.
Does anybody else have any, what did you say, Sam?
I said we still don't have to grant it. We don't have to grant it to stay just because it has.
Well, we can.
Yes, and we can then set a precedence for 12 other people to come
I
put,
don't know if
to
that's
come
gonna be
put
the
buildings
case.
on other properties. But you don't know that it isn't.
You don't know what it is.
So we're arguing about what ifs, like this is a concern about other properties. We are setting a precedence. He said himself, he doesn't know how the property even came into existence.
And we don't know that either.
There are no formal records, Josh.
No, I get it. But it's been, the property has had personal property tax paid on it.
I'm gonna go with
Years
the
until that was
I'm
done
gonna
away
go
with,
with
right?
the attorney's recommendation.
The attorney's
Again,
recommendation was either
there is no personal
to
property.
Do
There
away
is
with it
just
or
one at a time.
strengthen the agreement.
The recommendation that the regulation of the issue be elevated to provide better protection to the city or the arrangement be terminated. There are two options.
At least.
There is no longer personal property, you're not paying personal
Right,
property
okay.
tax. So where is the proof in the property building itself? Where is that transfer? Whose name was that in originally? We don't have that information either.
So Sam, you're sounding, we would, when was the permit go through?
9/28 of 26.
And I would be of the opinion that rather than go the statute route of saying 10 days to remove, to give him until 9/26/26 or the end of September, the end of the permission phase, to say, you know, now's the time to remove that.
And I would agree with that as well. It's not fair to do it in 10 days.
So I hear two older people saying that we should continue it till the 28th, till the end of that permit, and then we would discontinue that permit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And then at that point, the structure would have to be moved.
Yes.
That's the recommendation.
Josh is not in agreement with that. Josh would like to see it continue as is and to continue to approve that annual permit as is and has been done for the last however many years, at least since 2014, since it was discussed at council last, where they also made no action because they did not want to deal with it, in my opinion. So they kicked the can and now here we are.
We keep catching all the cans.
I'm over this.
Missy, not to put you on the spot, but you were in zoning. What's your opinion?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, the whole purpose of non-conforming structures is that they eventually go away.
Right.
We had that same issue on County A, right by the boat landing there. where people put up docks, and it's just a little strip of land with a dock. And I know we struggle with those pieces of property, but at the same time, I'm kind of the opinion it's not bothering anybody. So he should have some use.
And I agree with that if it were in use and if his plan was to stay, but based off kind of the idea that he's going to be moving, he's looking to offload the property. That's why the inquiry of possibly passing on the permission came, even before the board. This seems like a timely venture. This is the time to do the removal. Because it's not gonna be, the family heirloom.
Jesse, do you need action on this tonight? Or are you looking for action of sorts, to continue, to not continue? What are you looking for?
To be honest, I don't think it's really the city's timeline. I mean, I'm not sure of Mr. Brock's timeline, but for the city, no, when you guys feel that you have enough information and are ready to make a decision and provide for the direction to staff, we'll move forward. So if you want to bring it back, next week, or you feel that there's something else that you need, or what you think about, you want to bring it back to next committee of the whole, whatever the council deems best can be done.
Otherwise, for right now, it would continue as is until his next, annual permit would come up in September.
My recommendation would be to make that permit renewal an actual discussed topic versus an auto renew. And at that time in September, we can hear again from Mr. Brock if he can make it here and talk about his plans, and then we can decide at that point if we want to renew or remove.
If he sells in the meantime, what is the thought of the council in that perspective? So if I don't know, Mr. Brock can certainly say, but if he sells it in July,
That person would then need to come before the
that
council.
person
And just to
would
be
come
clear,
later in July.
if he sells the personal property, which is the shed and the deck, that he would come back at that time. I just want to make it clear, because we keep saying selling, but there's no property that is owned, it's just the personal property of the structure.
And as far as I'm concerned, the personal property would have to be sold after that person came in front of council.
Yes.
If Brian sold the shed prior to them coming to council for a permit, they would be in violation and it would need to be removed within 10 days.
Brian, did you catch that?
No, I did not. Your phone's only grabbing about 1 out of 5 words that you put.
Sure. So if you were to sell the property, your personal property, the shed, the structure, before your September 28th, when your permit is up, say you were to sell it in July, whoever was going to take over that property would have to come to council to see if we would even approve a grant or approve that permit. If you were to sell to somebody else without us doing that approval, you would be liable to have to move that property within 10 days because there is not a permit, then it would be honored to the next person, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So the permit dies with you.
Yeah, so the permit basically dies with you. It would not automatically carry over to the next person. That person, whoever would be taking that over, would have to come to council first and see if we were willing to grant that.
And should you not sell prior to September, it would go to the council for renewal or no renewal in September, correct? Did I
Yes,
understand? that?
yes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So what?
As of right now, are no motions on the table. Samantha, you look like you were gonna say something.
I was just he can't hear me, but to make it more clear, it will no longer be an auto renewal.
So, to make it clear, the council is asking that it is not an auto renewal every year. That it would come to council for approval.
Every year?
Yes. So at this time, there are no motions on the table, so there's no action to take. So it would continue as is until your permit is up on the 28th of September. And again, if you plan on selling that personal property, the structure before then, that next person would have to come in front of council, because the feeling was from, I would say, about half of the council, if not more, that we would not renew, that basically when your time is up, that's when we would not honor that permit anymore. And you can go back and listen, like I said, on YouTube if you want to watch the discussion beforehand. I know you can't hear as well. We've got AV issues in here and all of our mics are not connected to the video, so, or to the microphone right now, so. Do you have any other questions for us, or we can follow up later if need be? But while I have you on with the rest of council, do you have anything else you wish to say?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot I can add at this time, so.
Okay. If you have any questions after tonight, you can feel free to call Jesse, or they can give you my email as well.
All right, yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
All right.
Bye. Is that clear enough for you?
So this will come back in September, or maybe a month
I
before
think before, yeah.
August, unless he wishes to move forward prior and asks us to bring it prior to that. Okay, so I'll put a note in our calendar to bring this back in August,
Unless something happens before then.
unless something happens before then.
Okay, and it really only, whatever, okay. On to number 7, which is the police and fire department annual reports. Receive the annual reports from the police and fire departments. The reports are attached for everybody to see. I see fire chief and assistant police chief are here. Does anybody have any questions for either of them? Or do they want them to come up?
I think that will Kara that can do a summary.
Would you guys like to come up and give a summary? A very quick one.
I don't have much of a summary. It contains statistical data from the previous year, if you guys have seen previous annual reports from us. That just kind of summarizes the calls for service that we take and that the activity our officers are doing throughout the year. The report then goes into trainings we've accomplished, goals we've accomplished, and then what our potential goals and plans are for the new year and going forward.
Anybody have any questions?
Just a comment. I noticed that you mentioned at the beginning of the report that although hiring in PD is pretty difficult, that Berlin has been able to maintain full staff. What do you think is attributed to that?
I think the culture has a lot to do with it. I mean, we're a young department, me included, so we all get along really well. We all help each other out. And when I say that, we help each other out in the department and out. I mean, our guys are helping each other outside of work all the time with things like moving and watching kids and things like that.
And how can the council help you guys retain people?
I mean, that's a tough question. You guys have done a good job. I mean, you've been supportive of us and the things that we ask for. So, I mean, if that continues, that's obviously a positive, and we want to maintain that spirit of cooperation with you guys. So.
Great. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
As for the fire summary, it's pretty much on the first page. We had 160 calls. It was the most calls we've had as far back as I know for the city of Berlin in 1 year. 12 of them were mutual aid calls, 148 were calls in our territory. One note was that we had more accident calls within the city limits of Berlin this year than we normally have. I don't know what that's contributed to. Maybe we just got paged for more of the calls, and I don't believe there's any more seriousness of anything. So, if there's any questions, be happy to answer them, but that's pretty much the You know, the graphs are showing you hours and days of the week and things like that things happen. Our fire prevention that we do every year.
Any questions? All righty, thank you. On to number 8, discuss first floor office remodel, a half wall. You guys can see the picture that Jesse attached. They're looking at opening that up to, obviously, the other side of that, for anybody that's not aware, the other side are the water department. And they're looking to just open that up. It is not load bearing, and our staff is able to take care of this, helping obviously keep costs to a minimum. Jesse, do you have anything to add?
No, we're very hopeful that Scott's department can take care of this, and we don't anticipate a lot of cost. It's probably just gonna be more, a little bit of inconvenience for people for a little time when they're actually in their side and counting and whatever else is entailed in getting this done. I'm sure there will be some cost, of course, for finishing and things, but we don't anticipate it being a real significant project. But we're very hopeful that it will be very impactful to allow us to have a little easier time working with that and not feeling so closed off to the world. So I don't know if you wish for us to bring this back for a formal approval, or if you're okay with just having an update and us charging forward, or it's kind of at your discretion here where you would like us to go with this.
Are you looking for a financial approval here, or just approval to take action?
I think just approval to take action. I think we can try to get some very rough estimates, but I think until we get in there, we're not gonna know exactly what is gonna be needed. But I know it's not a fair question, but what do you think like a max would be for this project? It's not a fair question.
I would say $1,500.
And we budgeted, because we've talked about this before.
We've talked about this before. It's not specific, but we think that we can take care of it.
We'll find the money.
We always do.
And I think we can share the cost with the utility.
Does anybody want to send this to common council, or are we?
Sure, I can make a motion that we send to common council with approval of the first floor office remodel half wall.
Motion by Victoria, any seconds?
I'll second.
Second by Sam, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, number 9 is review proposed capital borrowing plan for 26 and 27. Recommendation is review and recommend to the common council for the CIP borrowing for 26 and 27. As we had approved, we were going to be borrowing $2 million every other year for capital needs. So my understanding, Jesse has gone to department heads and they have put together a wish list, if you will.
Right, so what we did is listed everything that is currently listed in the 5-year CIP, as well as a couple of additional items that have made their way closer to the top of the list from where they were or were not in the CIP. It goes out more than 5 years as a big chunk list as well. But the reason that we're showing all 5 of the years rather than just 26 and 27 is due to the anticipated use of those funds in the future. So as you know, in 2029, we anticipate the Highway 91 project, and then in 2030, we anticipate the Highway 49 project. And those projects are going to, we anticipate, take up a significant portion of that $2 million. At this point, the 91 project is probably less than $1 million, fingers crossed, but figure half, probably. But the 91 project is probably, or excuse me, the 49 project is probably all, if not more than that. So over the next 3 borrowings, which would of course be a total of $6 million, there's probably closer to $3 million available for these needs. We do have those connecting highway projects in red, but we don't have the actual dollar amounts there yet. So that's something really important that we want to make sure everybody has at front of mind, because anything that we don't do that's listed in 26, 27, of course, is gonna have to be re-added to the list, in another priority year. And in the next, after this borrowing, it's gonna be slim for a little while.
Is engine 66, that's our new, the one we ordered,
Yeah, it's one that'll come in January.
and we're sure about that we're on track,
We can get it earlier if you wanted, but
I'm just making sure. There's obviously been stuff on the news and like neighbors, right, that had issues with their engine, so I was just, I don't know, we've heard a follow-up in a while or any kind of an update on the engine, so I was just making sure.
the chassis in, we went and looked it over, and it's basically in cold storage. They can start at any time, but they know we can't take delivery until January, so
Okay,
timeline wise, they say we don't need to start it just yet.
Yeah, that's why Alan's in bold, we gotta pay for the truck that's coming.
Right, right.
and then Rescue 98 is what?
We have a ambulance,
The ambulance, okay.
Well, hold on, it's not just the ambulance.
we have an old ambulance that we use for our rescue truck. It carries the jaws of life and
Oh,
all our cribbing and everything. It's,
sure,
I believe it's like a 1996.
Okay.
It is very, what, 89.
even,
So it's in need of replacement. It doesn't need to be replaced with a brand new one by any means. There's plenty of stuff out there that we can start looking when we are given permission.
so that budget of 100,000 is what you're hoping to replace that vehicle with, that 100?
Correct.
And we wouldn't be looking for a pre-used ambulance.
Correct.
We'd be looking for something to,
We prefer to have a vehicle that's made to be all rescue equipment.
Sure.
It's fair.
While I have you up here, engine 69, 150,028.
Engine 69 is the same
The ladder?
as engine 66.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's not used quite as much. It's a tanker only. The theory there is that we would hope we could save the body of it and just pull the chassis out and put a new chassis underneath it. People are doing this on a pretty regular basis now, just to try to save some costs. The cabinet part of the truck is in pretty good shape still, so trying to work with the dollars that the city has.
We have a command vehicle in 20, I'm just going down the line, guys, I hope that's
Mhm.
okay.
Are we gonna go through all of this?
I don't know, I'm seeing big numbers stick out and I'm just asking questions because this is the first really that we've seen this. We haven't really talked about this in detail at all. I guess my concern, you didn't really talk numbers. We don't know what 49 or 91 is rock solid going to cost us.
yes,
She's about $1 million and then 2, right?
yeah. That's gas coming with.
What is everybody's preference? Do we want to go through all these, like, or do you want to go through them on your own and come up with questions at a later date? What are our opinions here?
I guess my initial thought is we can't borrow that bottom number. That's 3.6 million for 2 years. So
Correct.
we need to pick and choose priorities. Is that what we're looking for?
So that's what staff has done on this sheet. The final item, or the final column, is 26 and 27 borrowing proposal. And then I've highlighted within the 26 to 30 where those numbers come from, if that makes sense.
The green is the critical.
And the green is, yeah, what we kind of deem as the critical ones. Now, you'll notice at the bottom, it's about 1.9, a little more than 1.9. I think that it's important to have some of that money not necessarily designated because obviously these are round numbers and we don't have actual numbers. If we ended up not needing all of this, we could certainly take another thing off of your list depending on how much is left, you know.
I really,
So,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So we would be looking at 1.9. I thought we had decided going out 2 years, right? Like we were gonna borrow 2 years at a time, so the full 2 would be 26 and 27.
Yes,
So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 items for 26 and 27.
yes,
And we have to pay for the engine.
yes.
And the rescue, I mean, I don't feel like something. I was born in 1989, I can't believe it's still on the road
You're too weird.
and safe to drive. So I guess those for sure, in my opinion, would have to be done. I'm questioning the elevator repair in the library. Is that something that they are going to be partially funding?
The interior, if they chose to do it, they understand would be their,
So they're not going to pitch in for any of the mechanical part with the library funds?
we haven't gone specifically to them, but I think in the past,
I would
I thought they had.
highly recommend that.
I'm sorry.
I would highly recommend requesting funds from them for that. Not all of it.
But I
some
do
of it.
know that elevator's been on the list a long time.
Yes, the elevator is one of those, you just don't know. It could go tomorrow and they most likely would not be able to get parts. Or it could keep ticking along for, another, I don't know how many years. We don't know. But we feel like if we don't put it on the list, it will stop kicking tomorrow.
Yes.
So,
Our options for 2026 were East Park, West Berlin, or West Liberty. We're gonna go with the highest one. I assume that the water department is also doing that one, and they've already got all of their amounts ready to go for that one. So we kind of have to.
engineering's already looking at that, Don's already looking at that.
Okay.
But we discussed it, Brian, that was my understanding, that was the most needed.
Yeah, is East Park Ave is East Park Ave from Wisconsin to, what is that?
Sweeting?
Sweden, yeah.
Are you gonna do that little
Sweeting?
sweeting?
We that could also be just an overlay.
You mean down to Huron?
So then we have, when we're looking at numbers, this 40,000 is nothing. The single axle dump truck is even older than me, okay? The snow blower, so we're not talking about, what are we talking about in terms of a snow blower?
That was purchased as a demo in 1991.
But we're not talking about one that you walk behind. What are we talking about?
No, this goes on the front end loader.
Okay.
It's what picks the snow up when we put it to the center of the road.
Yeah, shoots it on. Okay.
It's a big one.
That's kind of critical.
And then, how many lawnmowers can you get for 10 grand? Approximately,
I can get one for the cemetery,
okay?
and typically, we might be able to cut that down because on occasion, they'll be nice enough to give us half.
Okay,
So, can I go back to your question about Sweeting Street?
oh, yes, sorry.
So knowing that the estimates that Kunkel does provide, there's a fair amount of buffer in there.
Okay,
I think we should very easily be able to handle research.
handle the whole thing with the 727?
Yeah.
So that would not dig into your chip and seal?
We could bid it both ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's past the, are you suggesting a chip and seal, because it's past that?
No,
Oh,
I'm talking about the other 40,000 that you budgeted for other areas
Chip and seal.
for chip and seal.
that's kind of a random thing. If I was- Yeah, if I was gonna do, I only have one street in mind for that right now,
Okay,
and I would say that's not a priority.
okay. And then we have $25,000 for rental software, for what?
Okay, so I don't have a cost on that yet, but what that would be just probably closer to between 5 and 10, Sue. We don't know yet,
To be determined
to be determined.
Yeah, phone call on Thursday will tell me.
What are we?
So
What we're talking about is software to allow people to do their rentals online out of the campground and all of our park facilities, so that you can sign up to do the shelters or any of those things to get into the 21st century, because our current process, people get bounced around a lot and
And if Sue can speak to this, because the Committee on Aging, we talked about how this is upgrading not just Park and Rec, but also the senior center, so this software is gonna upgrade everything. So please do speak to that, because that's a big deal.
And what is who are you looking at? What are
The
you?
$25,000.
No, I know, but like, is there a company that you're looking at?
Right now, I'm looking to get answers from a company called RecDesk, RecDesk. You can actually go to Ribbon. They have one, the Ribbon website has that, they currently use it. That's how I learned about it when I visited the Ribbon Senior Center. They use it for when you enter the senior center, the seniors sign in, they sign up for whatever program they might be there for that day. We could even get it to sign up for the meals that they choose, what day of the week that is. Then it's also mainly, I think the bigger use is going to be for the Parks and Rec, so that they can rent shelter houses with ease. They can actually go onto the website, learn what is available, when it's available. They can use a credit card to pay for it, and they can get a confirmation number, which are all things they cannot do now. Right now, the antiquated system that we have is physically have to call or come in. We have to pull up the correct Excel spreadsheet for either Parks and Rec, campground, whatever the case might be. Make sure that it's not already booked for that day, and then proceed from there with getting their information. They ask to pay by credit card, of course they can't. They have to pay when they get to the campground. It's very cumbersome. So this would really streamline all of that.
And then anybody buying wood at the park or a rental space, they don't have to put cash in a wet box. They can just go onto, online and do it. I think this would bring the city of Berlin into, current day operation as opposed to the old paper.
I'm not disagreeing with it, I just don't like the price, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that there's a better feasible.
Like a cheaper price.
I don't want to see just one, I would like to see a few different quotes of different options of different,
this is just a placeholder, because if you'll notice, we had said campground improvements of 25,000 a year. It's just a placeholder. Obviously, if we only need 12, we can put that.
it's just a sticker shock to say $25,000 for rental, software, when
That's fair.
it would take us a lot of years to even recoup that back, with just rental fees.
I actually am wondering what the yearly fee is. So you don't have any of that yet?
I don't have anything. I mean, I can tell you what Ribbon paid. Actually, I can't tell you right now off the top of my head. I have that on my computer, what Ribbon paid for it at one point, is she did share that number with me. I have no idea, being new, what we would, sign up for at the time. And if our program that we need would be greater or less than what they have.
Do you have any idea if they do have like a yearly fee, or if it was just like a one-time?
I believe it is an annual fee.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I also, just so everybody is aware, I did apply for a grant for this as well, which hopefully I'll hear back in June on that. That would be wonderful, but to be determined.
So it's saying RecDesk is essential per year, starting at 3,800 up to 16,000.
So this is looking to be more of a yearly fee for whatever the amount is, so that in my opinion, next year needs to be in
Is a line.
the budget as a line item if we go forward with this, not under this borrowing for capital improvements.
My assumption is that there's a buy-in and then an annual, but that might not be the case. And this would cover
Obviously to be determined, but just for reference in your notes.
It says no upfront cost and a very affordable annual subscription fee.
And then I lost whatever else I was gonna say about it, but yeah. Oh, revenue. If we have this, is it likely we would have a better chance at greater revenue to offset the cost?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope that our revenue for that increases. I think with the ease, it's a good possibility.
Okay. And then we are to the
Tasers, which we talked about.
senior center roof that's not highlighted, but does say not identified in the CIP. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
Did that become emergent?
Just give us, Scott.
Yeah. I think as we were discussing this, I brought it up because I do know that there is a current leak. So I think Scott can speak to that much better than I can.
Over the last couple of years, we've had a leak that's been problematic. I've had contractors look at it and they can't determine where it's coming from. It's where the roof lines come together, there's all kinds of
Is it,
stuff going on.
So would it be like the rubber stuff that we put up? No.
It's an,
this would be a full roof.
Okay.
yeah,
Metal?
ooh, not for 25. Consider this more of a repair, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the tasers, which we've talked about already.
Noah, you got any grants for that?
For tasers, I haven't explored any. We had a meeting with Axon today. They're the ones that created Taser, to receive a quote on Taser 7s. It's not the most modern version of the Taser, so those are very expensive. But we had not gotten that quote back, so
Yeah.
I don't have an exact price on what that would look like yet.
All right. How long are tasers good for?
You can string them along for quite a bit. I mean, I'm wearing an old one right now that's aired out basically, so Taser won't service it anymore.
Not me.
It really depends based on battery life and things like that, or if it's damaged in a fight on the street or things like that. They are warranted, so if we do get under, I guess, a contract with Axon, they would replace our broken tasers. I think free of charge, but again, I'm still waiting on all that information. So I don't have an exact answer for you. I would like to say 5 to 10 years, but I don't know for sure.
I'm wondering if it would be more cost advantageous to go with the newest if they will last longer.
The 7s and 10s are pretty similar, I think, in their lifespan.
Okay,
The 10s are
way
very
more,
expensive.
okay,
Yeah.
that's it, that's all I got. I'll be quiet now.
Anybody else have any questions?
Looks like we're waiting on quite a bit of final numbers, but
When do you need this approved by? Or do you need approval of this, or is this just a,
so the sooner we have this, the better, because we're gonna have to go out to borrow. And then we also need to let the engineering staff know what, for sure, we're moving forward with.
we have pretty good flexibility with these numbers then, as little numbers start coming in where we can move stuff around as needed.
So yes, this is just this is our general guide. So when we go out to borrowing, it will be more general, that we are borrowing for equipment and, public works, projects, like that type of thing. It'll be much more general. But you guys created the list of what needs to be done over the next 5 years when you created the capital improvement plan. However, as you know, things change from day to day when we find out other things are not working the way we thought. And also, as we said, our next couple of borrowings will not be, well, they will hopefully still be the $2 million, but we have to focus that money on other priorities that have kind of been put in front of us for us. So I think Scott has something to add.
I do have something that's rather time sensitive when it pertains to the snow blower.
Well, I was just gonna ask, the engine is ordered and ready to be done. Rescue, I assume you'll pay for it when it comes in, once you are okayed with the quote. The elevator and East Park, I mean, you guys already said you started on that, or something has started on that, so I mean, if you order a snow blower, you're gonna need it before next year, right?
That's kind of my situation right now. There's only 2 left, that'd be available to us,
I was gonna say in the state.
and they're built in Canada. And if the president wakes up upset at Canada, the cost is gonna increase significantly.
We were gonna
And
borrow
those aren't
that
my words,
next
those
week.
are salesman's
Yeah.
words.
I guess I'll make a motion to recommend to common council to approve proposed 2026-27 capital borrowing priority list for the upcoming $2 million capital borrowing. When is Bear supposed to come back?
I will talk to Jen and, they'll have to come in to do the borrowing.
Okay.
They did revisit the memo, I made sure that they were on board with how I was explaining and everything, so they're aware of what we've proposed to you guys.
Second. Motion by Sam, second by Victoria. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? In just discussion, I would just like to follow, up. One of the main ones was just the rec stuff, the quotes or whatever she finds.
Yes. We need more information on that, like I said, placeholder at the moment.
Okay,
Can I request a brief reprieve for recess?
sure. We will be in recess for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
8:06. We are live.
Good.
We are back in session at 8:11.
Thank you.
On to, we passed number 9. Number 10 is the Waste Management Grant Funds. Review and recommend approval of the $1,000 donation from Waste Management. And in a nutshell, last year we approved the $1,000 to go to the pump,
Freshwater station.
freshwater station at the campground? Campground?
It's
But I thought we were talking something about the boat launch. No, it's campground.
the water tower.
The water tower.
For the dump station.
And so Scott is asking for this year's to be allocated so he can combine the two and fix the station. So we need allocation for this year's donation, and the suggested wording is in your packet if you.
And you did not need to wait a full calendar year to apply for the 2026, right? Because we did it at the very end of 2025.
Last year.
It didn't say anything in the thing about
So
it.
you can get it, like, if we approve it now, you can get it now.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep, as long as we do it before October.
All right.
I'll recommend to council to approve the $1,000 donation from Waste Management for the years 2025 and 2026 to be used to purchase a new water supply tower for the campground.
I'll second.
Motion by Victoria, second by Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This is just to go to common council?
Yes.
Correct, okay. Thank you. Number 11, review revision to employee handbook. Recommendation is review and recommend adoption of the introduction, general government, and vacation, holidays, and leave section of the employee handbook.
So as we discussed previously, staff is going through, section by section and then, bringing them back in smaller chunks, for you guys. My hope would be that you would adopt these sections and then we will implement them right away. And then once we go through all of the sections and have adopted each piece, we'll adopt them all together at the end too. But that way we can move forward with the changes prior to getting to the end, if that makes sense. So, the first section is just the introduction. As I noted, all the indexes highlighted because we're gonna have to fix that. There are some weird formatting things in here that I apologize for. It's because it was a PDF version and we transferred it to Word, and for some reason it transfers some of the text over as pictures. It does really weird things, so it's ugly, but we'll make it pretty before we get to the final, so my apologies for that. The first actual contextual changes until you get to what says is page 5 on the general employment page. Do you want me to go through these? Do you have questions? What do you think makes the best use of your time? I'm happy to do it in whatever way you feel is best.
I mean, we reviewed it, I reviewed it, just looked over it, we don't need to have it read to us, I guess.
Okay. Were there any questions or anything in the introduction or general government pages that you have questions or concerns on? The piece I do wish to discuss is the residency requirement.
That's the one I had a question on.
Okay. So, as stated in here, statutes allow that you can have a residency requirement within 15 miles of the city's boundaries. You can't require them to live within the city, but you can require them to live within 15 miles. So from my perspective, to be perfectly honest, at this point, I think the purpose of the residency requirement, because we can actually make them live in the city. Years ago, I think a lot of communities really thought of it as a huge benefit to have their employees live in the city, contribute to the tax base, support local businesses, all that kind of thing. Well, we can't require that anymore at this point because by statute, we can't limit it to less than 15 miles from the community. So I think at this point, the bigger advantage to such thing is response time, right? We want to make sure that if there is an emergency, people hopefully can respond within a reasonable amount of time if they're not too far away. So I would suggest that we at least consider or look at the possibility of having a response time requirement rather than a residency requirement. And the only positions that it would really impact, at this point would be your street department and your utilities. Because your other services that are emergency, they're already 24/7. We schedule 24/7 for our EMS, and we schedule 24/7 for our police. And our fire department is kind of a different animal because they're volunteer and they have their own, rules on that. So certainly we can maintain the 15-mile residency requirement if you're most comfortable with that. Or we can look at going to a response, like, we don't care where you live, but when we call you, you need to be here within, a reasonable amount of time.
And that's mostly affecting utility, you said, so.
And streets.
And streets.
Snow plowing,
Yeah.
other such emergencies.
Accidents, flooding, all that stuff.
Yeah, those sorts of things.
So I guess how is this gonna affect other departments when you have somebody on the outskirts that's 29 minutes away and you've got a tree down in the middle of the road because there was a tornado? Maybe not a tornado, it's bad, everybody's gonna be here.
Lightning strike.
Zero. Lightning strike.
And you have, an officer sitting on a tree in the middle of the road because you can't get DPW in here for 30 minutes and they've got another emergent call. Because is it a 30-minute response time to the scene, or is it a 30-minute response time to
The station.
the station, which
From
is
the call,
their department?
from the time they're called.
To the scene?
To the scene, or to get a truck and get everything they need into the call? Because those are two very different things. Because 30 minutes to the building without having to grab everything that they would need to get a tree out of the middle of the road is very different than 30 minutes to the building, grab everything they need, and to the scene.
I see what she's
That
saying.
turns into 45
That
minutes.
turns into 45 to an hour.
And I was just agree with that, but at the same time, you currently don't have a requirement that you be here within a certain amount of time. Just that you're so close. So if it takes you an hour to get here, if you live 12 miles from here, you're within.
So there's never been a time
There's
frame,
never
it's
been
only
a
been a
time frame,
mile.
it's only about a mileage.
Exactly.
But the mileage
The mileage limits you.
inherently puts you at 15 to 20 minutes, because if you're living within 15 miles of town, it's 15, 20 minutes.
We're not Milwaukee where it takes you 30 minutes to get 5 miles.
Right.
Yeah,
And I guess,
if they're called in the middle of the night, they gotta put their clothes on and get in the car.
in terms of on-call, I mean, as far as I'm aware, they're always out on call, or are we doing an on-call schedule? So
They're on
that
call
they,
24/7.
so that they know that they have to be available within 30 minutes.
I feel like the utility's a little different than street department. They, I believe, do have a
They do
rotation,
have
but then they call more in if they need to, but there's always someone who is on call.
Yeah, my guys are on call 24/7, but there are two people that are gonna be low who know that they're gonna be called first. And you know as well as I do that when they get a call at 2:00 in the morning, they don't dilly-dally.
They
just move
should be
their
out
rooms
the
or-
door
Yeah.
within 5 minutes, yes.
Not to say that could be a problem in the future with new hires. I mean,
Current staff, it works.
the problem with the 15-mile radius was it was just, we were losing opportunities for employees.
That was gonna be my next question, is how many employment opportunities did you lose out on with the 15-mile radius?
I guess I don't so much have an issue with the radius. My issue is it needs to be defined whether it's 30 minutes with everything that you would need, or 30 minutes to the building, so that when you have an officer sitting on something for 45 minutes to an hour, that can be explained.
So I did, Jesse, that's one thing I talked to you about, was that if something like this were going to be changed, we have to have a plan on file, or what we have to understand what the plan is. So the plan has to be clear of what, like you just said, is it from from the house to, the station, house to the scene. And I think that that's something that should be in that plan if we're going to approve something like this.
And
That's fair.
don't get me
This is
wrong,
not-
like there are multiple, I mean, you can be called in for anything. So that's hard too, but it has to be a reasonable amount of time that it would take. To me, it needs to be a reasonable amount of time included with anything you would need at the street department building and to the scene in 30 minutes.
Well,
Because
you're
you,
absolutely right. If they're responding to storm damage, they themselves might not be able to get there without being P2 ready.
Right.
So, I mean, there's so many variables.
So if we can tighten that portion up a little bit, does that make sense?
Right,
I wasn't so, I think Brian really wanted to have the response time. I was willing to go, 25 miles, 20 miles, whatever.
right, and I think
Would it make more sense to change the mileage?
we could, yes,
I think it's too hard to
we certainly could.
put a time limit on it, because like she said, you don't know how much stuff you're gonna have to grab,
Or if you can even get there.
or,
That's
yeah,
true,
if
too.
you're stuck and have to detour, I don't. In an emergency situation, I don't know if the time limit is the thing, I think maybe just having the radius extended.
What was the original reason for the, I thought I heard you say something about no longer being able to require the radius. What, did I mishear?
So, I apologize, so years ago, and I don't know the timeline history of this, because the 15 years, I think, or 15 miles, I think, is kind of for quite a time. But years ago, it was pretty common for communities to require their employees to live within the community for other reasons besides just safety. They're,
I think she was-
contributing.
I think she was talking about you saying it wasn't legal.
Oh, the statutes will not allow us to make the radius less than 15 miles. So-
Less than.
So we can't say you have to live in Berlin, that's not allowed. We can say you have to live within 15 miles of Berlin, or you have to live, like Scott just said, 25 miles within Berlin. But we cannot make that less than 15 miles. And we do see some recruitment issue with 15 miles.
I would be more comfortable opening it up to a 25-mile radius.
Okay.
Me too, it would save rewriting of procedures.
I think it would just be easier all the way around to have mileage versus minutes.
And it would include a greater area of people.
And what happens now if you're not there within minutes, or I feel like it has to be, then it just opens a whole other can of worms. Now that you say that, like, all the what ifs, and how is that gonna, now we're talking a whole chapter of,
Yeah, is there discipline?
Was my concern.
yeah, is now what's the repercussions, what are
Because
the,
it's an employee handbook, what
Right.
happens if I get there in 50 minutes versus
Right.
30, am I in trouble?
Right.
Do I get written up?
yeah.
I'm much more comfortable with 25 miles. Are you good with that compromise?
Are you comfortable with it only applying to those positions that are on call? Rather than,
Meaning you don't have to move? Yes, that's
well,
fine.
the state statute actually says you can't put one on you, but that's completely different. I'm
So it's just ones that are listed, public works, and water and sewer utility
Yes.
employees, and the city health custodian. It's those three.
right, what I'm more thinking about is your police department.
That's,
Now, they are under contract, that's different, but your non-contract police department is more what I'm talking about.
meaning,
Your chief and your assistant chief,
we already made that decision at a previous, that we're not, we don't need to revisit that.
but that was, I believe, a specific for that person at the time.
No,
I wasn't there.
I made that motion
To change the employee handbook?
to change the boundary
For that position,
for the PD,
Oh, for the PD total?
yes.
Let me do a little research.
Do some research.
I was, understanding how that went.
Mhm.
Okay, I thought that was specific for incumbent, not for the position.
Miles, right?
It was the whole PD, it wasn't just one position, it was whoever wanted to, was willing to come in and keep our city safe, we didn't care where they were coming from, as long as we had the coverage and we had, somebody was always on call, there was a plan, we had mutual aid, we had the county, that we raised that, and, there's a lot more that we can talk in depth about, but the motion, I'm 99% sure that it was for the PE, not just one position.
Well, they have residency radius within their contract though.
Right.
So that would have been.
But we changed
separate.
ours, I mean, I probably still have my motion typed up somewhere.
Okay, I will try to find that, and if you find it, send it to me, but I will
I would still,
find out.
I mean, for the purposes of the on-call people in this, yes, 25 miles. DPW, street, and custodian.
I know,
Does Andrew fall under DPW?
Typically he does.
Both,
Yeah, you kind of like,
all of them?
yeah.
He's within 15 now, so it shouldn't be an issue, but if that was rehired. do you know?
Ranger,
Yeah,
Park Ranger.
yes.
What
Are
was
they considered on call?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yep.
So that one would also be,
so he would fall under public works.
he would fall under public works.
And I know it was because, the whole PD, because we had several police officers who spoke for it. Because of their safety in jeopardy at the time. It was the whole PD, it wasn't just one position.
She's talking about the non-WHPA.
I know.
So they fall under different things, the contract versus the handbook. And I believe that the contract,
Yeah, we'll have to look at it, we'll have to, but I know that there was
so the
specific discussion.
intention of the council is that it would,
Correct.
okay. I think
That
that's
should
good, but I
be
will,
part of this residency requirement though, down the line.
I will rewrite this section obviously, and we'll bring this portion back changed. Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about or has concerns or needs clarification on in this section? But definitely I can get that reworked. I didn't want to assume and get too far down the road with this without discussing it first. So we'll get that updated.
Are we moving, we're just discussing that one, or are we going into any of the other ones?
I was hoping to then go into the, other section, the, vacation and holidays and leaves. But is everybody good on the first half?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I did write a little description here. The biggest, well, there's a few things in this one, but the biggest thing that I would really like to do is update the vacation. The vacation is a recruiting issue for us because even if we negotiate with someone due to their skills that they're bringing, to say to somebody that the city's policy is that you get no vacation for a full year, and then upon 1 year you get a week added to your bank, and then you'll start accumulating at 2 weeks, doesn't come across as real warm and fuzzy, if I'm being honest. So what I would really like to do is offer,
I have huge issues with 2 weeks. I have huge issues with 2 weeks right off the bat. They have not proven anything. They're already getting 16 hours of personal time and they are accruing 8 hours of sick time a month. So if you have appointments and you have other things, you do have time. And as far as if they don't, or if they use more, what does this say here? More vacation than
then they would have earned.
than they would have earned, they would need to pay back, absolutely not, because at that point, they can use their 2 weeks and quit, and they don't have to give a 2 week notice, because why would they? So you may not have anything to pull from. I would be comfortable with accruing from 0 to 6 months a week. And then they can use that week, their 6 months to a year.
So in the first year, they could accrue the 2 weeks,
They could,
but they don't have availability of, after 6 months. So they'd have a week in their bank after 6 months, and they would continue to accrue at the 2 week rate.
that would be fine, that would be
Is
better.
that what you said?
That's fine, that's better, that would probably be easiest, yes. They would not be allowed to use time until after 6 months.
Okay. How would that affect current employees?
I
Like,
also,
not at
yes.
2 weeks? My thought would be that anybody who was hired 2024 or later than that, would get credit for 2 weeks. So if they had an agreement with the city and they already had 2 or more weeks, nothing happens. But if they didn't, we would make them whole. So either give them another week in their bank or give them access to the time that they have with another week in their bank.
What about anybody moving from year 6 to 7 and anybody over 13? How many do we have over 13?
I wouldn't suggest doing anything other than if they've hit that mark, giving them their vacation, no back or anything like that. I wouldn't
No back, but if you're on the cusp of one of those, I mean, they accrue it. So are you going to add that additional week to what they've already been accruing? Because they technically are in that year?
Their formula would change, yeah.
Yeah, the formula would change from whatever their current rate is, however many hours of pay period to whatever the hours per pay period would be at the new rate.
I guess my question is, I mean, obviously we haven't hired a ton and we don't have that many employees where it's an issue or we're constantly hiring. But has it been a problem for you at all, or that you've heard from, that is preventing you from hiring due to not having any vacation up front?
Yes, I've been turned down with that explanation already.
I do think that times have changed, and I think that this absolutely was a standard for many years. Talking to some local businesses that have way more employees than we do, that they have had to also adapt and change, and that a week is, or I shouldn't even say a week, that vacation at hiring, I wasn't told how long, I don't know what their policies were, but that is their new normal in order to keep, or just hire in general.
My new place that I got hired at does an accrual per month. It's like half a day or something. And I needed that within the first month. So I get it, like it's kind of.
Same, I had to wait a whole year to get a week and it sucked. So now they've changed to where, well, you get prorated depending on when you get hired, but when you get your year, you get your 2 weeks. So it's tough waiting a year to get vacation.
Because life be life and.
Especially people that are more experienced and are moving from a different job. I mean, somebody fresh out of like college, say, may not be, but I myself, if I was looking for a different position, I would not take one that did not give me.
Right.
I've earned vacation over the years at the job that I'm at other jobs. I would not take one that didn't offer me something at my stage in life, right? I would not, if they didn't offer me vacation off that, no, thank you, I'll find something at all. I think it's important to offer that within the first year. If we do it at the 6 months and then it becomes available, to have some sort of okay, we're seeing that you're gonna stick with it and you're not just gonna job out and we already paid them and didn't get much out of it, that's fair. But I think having that available to them within the first year, for sure.
Well, I like that it says that they'll earn it by accrual throughout the first year. I'm just curious how they could use hours granted but not earned. Wouldn't you just say you don't have the PTO, so this is an unpaid day?
As I proposed, and it can be changed, I mean, Sam had a different proposal. As I proposed, this would only impact them in their first year of employment. So when you start out, it's gonna take you a couple of months to month and a half, whatever it is, to get a day in your bank. So, if you had something planned, normally what would happen at this point is we would just have allowed it up front and you'd be unpaid at the point, right? If you had something planned. But this way, potentially you could use that vacation anytime in the first year, as long as it meets your supervisor's, coverage or whatever this individual situation is. But then If they were to say, okay, I've been here 9 months, I don't wanna be here anymore, and they've already used more vacation than they would have accrued in those 9 months, that's when I was saying they'd have to pay back.
Nope.
I'm with Sam on that. I think you just go unpaid. If you don't have the PTO, it's an unpaid day. I don't think you should be able to borrow into it in advance in your PTO.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's-
It'll be 6 months before they have a week.
Right.
That's fine.
But did you,
Because
That's
they
not in
also
here.
still have 2 personal days,
okay,
Depending on when they're hired, yes.
depending on when they have
Those are
to,
correct.
and they get a sick day a month, correct?
Right, but sick days only to be used for sick.
Right.
Or
But if they
benefits.
have an appointment or something, they can go.
Yes,
And like in the clerk's office, they are able to flex.
we do our best to accommodate, we do. But we're still
I mean,
open for.
The DPW is a little
something
different, but
further.
they still get comp time.
Yes.
Water department, I would assume also gets comp time, or is that not allowed, or I don't know how that works.
Not, very rarely, you have to use it like right away, otherwise it's overtime. There's,
So, I mean, there are, I definitely am absolutely opposed to letting somebody borrow against a bank they don't even have.
would it be acceptable then to just, you start accruing day one, and then you can utilize anything that's in your bank at the 2-week rate?
I would be okay.
That's fine.
So if you don't want to use a day your second month, you have a day.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fine,
That's fine.
okay.
What happens when you have somebody that doesn't work a full 80 or isn't working the hired 20, 80 hours
For vacation accrual,
for vacation accrual, sick time accrual,
yes,
when people are going unpaid before holidays and after holidays?
right, so the amount of time that you worked impacts what your accrual rate is. So if they don't work the full 20/80, then they wouldn't get the full 80 hours of vacation.
Is that the same for sick time though?
Sick time, I have to look, I know it talks about 10 days in a month and different things, I just have to confirm.
Yeah, I think
Where is
it's
that,
10 or
just for
more.
sick
An
leave?
An employer receives paid for 10 or more hours within 10 months, end of the month.
Yeah, so they get their sick day if they work 10 or more normal days in that month.
And if you are off, so like a big one for us is Christmas and New Year's. So if you are not in paid status the day before Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas Day, you don't get paid the 2 holidays.
You're saying if they take time without pay? Right, but if they use vacation,
Correct.
they're paid sick. I understand what you're saying. I think we do have, I apologize, I think we do have it in here that you have to work the day before and the day after the holiday. Other than,
I don't have the whole thing in front of me anymore, and I was
let me see if I can find, I'm pretty sure we do have
back and forth between.
that for holiday pay.
has worked the full day before and the full day after the holiday unless time off has been approved in advance by his or her supervisor.
Time off meaning they're using their time, or time off just granted? Not for you to figure out. Just how is that worded? And then in terms of the holidays, the extra holidays, WPPA contract is different?
Sure, yes, this would not impact our labor union. Right, yes, as I read this, you have to work the day before or the day after to be paid for, or have it approved. But if you wish for us to tighten that up, just say, rather than
I would like it to say paid
absence,
status.
paid status, okay. can do that. Is everybody else?
Or the benefit.
Okay, I will get that updated. Okay. I think we're intending the same thing, but that's clearer.
Okay, anything else in that section, or can we move?
Thank you for taking away the 90-day requirement for bereavement, that's weird.
I know, I mean.
Like you can control a death.
Right. Yes. So we are going with accrual at start at the 2-week rate.
Yeah.
With no restrictions on use. If you have it, you can use it.
Correct.
Okay, does anybody have major heartburn about, if you were, hired in 2024 or more currently?
How many do we have?
Where's my list?
1, 2,
2,
I want
3.
to just say flourish. I did that math, I had it written on my paper. This one?
I promise you guys, I'm making up for all these quick meetings that I've had. We haven't had one like this one in a very long time.
Sometimes you just have to choose.
Can't help it.
We should
I
start
have
at
a
6.
question about the
I
bereavement.
should start what?
We should start at 6.
No,
We
tried it
that
before,
already.
remember?
I know,
the
but
bereavement
he's not here anymore.
leave list includes, children.
7 people were hired in that time frame, but she has to check on.
Whether or not they received the 2 weeks or not.
So some of them received 2 weeks and some of them received nothing. That's more of a continuity issue than a handbook issue.
That's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, that's a whole nother ball of wax, but I would like to bring them up to, so they, the most likely scenario is they get 1 week back and then
That's
they
fine.
would have earned. Okay. Okay,
Do we need to, tell me if this is just nitpicking, or when we say spouse, children, children-in-law, should we be adding foster children to that list of children, or do we just assume children is if you have a foster child?
I've never been asked that question.
There's a lot of families in my church that foster, and that's why it came up to my mind.
Foster isn't permanent, is it?
No, so that can change
Can change.
situationally.
But-
I feel like
But a lot of those foster kids are in the process of being adopted, and they're very much family, So that's why I would really like to, if we're gonna say children and delineate children-in-law as well, I would make a pledge for adding foster children.
I'm different.
Anybody have a?
I guess I don't know that it's gonna really come up all that often.
The amount of times it's even gonna.
You like
The way
it?
you have it is fine.
Well,
I think it's complicated, and foster, you said a lot of them adopted, but a lot of people don't adopt them either, so I don't know, I think you're getting into some.
So deep.
Yeah.
I think if there was a situation, we would be able to
Okay,
address
so
it as
yes.
a personal
Yeah.
issue, and they would talk to you, and you'd be able to work it through.
Figure it out.
And if they're in the process of adopting, I think that you would consider, yes, that's your child.
Well, I agree with you that it's rare in a general community. In my circle, it's really not very rare, there's a lot of them. But the question is, does that leave it up to the employer to go, that's not really your child, you don't get 3 days? Or do we delineate it so they get 3 days?
But foster children can come and go monthly,
Yeah.
and they're all considered foster children. So do they get 3 every? I don't know, I think it just makes it very muddy.
Okay. Just my bid.
Okay, next.
We go back to personal leave, suggested potentially, we have 2 personal days. which equates to 16 hours. We do have, EMS works a 24-hour shift. So to provide one full shift off, we could make it just for the EMS department a 24-hour. If you don't think that's fair,
with that.
people are okay with that? Okay. Under holidays, I'm suggesting making those 2 half-day holidays, full-day holidays. It's, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of a pain.
Oh, I'm fine with it. I'm off Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I can't imagine city business is that busy on those.
Tax payments?
Tax payments is true. We do have people who like to come in very close to the year end. However, I would note that if you put your payment in the box, we're gonna get it on the 2nd and credit you for prior. That's what, that's what I'm sorry, that would work for the 2nd, but also for December 31st, if that was for Christmas, you get credit for.
The current year?
Right, the current year, if you put it in the box.
I am fine with that. That was the piece about the WPPA contract that I stated.
Right.
It's just different.
Their contract is different. Theirs are on holidays and stuff versus the Monday, Friday thing and all that as well. They're just different because they work the 24/7. The reason actually that we want to be really clear about the 8 hours on the holiday is more for to define it for EMS, and how their calendars work. Yeah, were there any other questions or concerns under holidays? Nope. Okay. The jury duty is just simply making it for everybody, not just our full-time people, because our part-time people too can be pull the jury duty.
There's no control over that.
Right.
Sorry, you're only part-time. You can't come. They don't care where you work.
And, under the FMLA stuff, we were thinking that rather than making it the employee's choice whether or not to use their paid time during their FML leave or not would be stricken, and I would just see that the city would require that. If you're not comfortable with that, we can take it back out, but a lot of communities do that. So if you have sick time and or vacation time and you're gonna be on FMLA, you have to use that paid time.
So do we have a unpaid policy? Unpaid time off policy? Do we have an unpaid time off policy at all?
No, not that I'm aware of specifically.
So if you are taking extended amounts of unpaid time off, you can be fired.
Yeah, if it's not agreed to.
Okay, so then, yes, if we don't have an unpaid time off policy, then they would have to use their vacation, personal sick time under FMLA. So yes, that should be in there.
As is, you mean?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So don't
And then we
strike
also,
that word.
Do not strike that.
Keep it.
we just struck or employee may choose. Then under the workers' compensation and light duty, I think it's pretty rare that we offer somebody light duty. We don't have a lot of opportunity for that, but if they choose not to take a light duty assignment that's offered to them, they would be giving up their workers' compensation benefits because they chose not to take. So rather than may, we changed it to shall. It's not to say everybody will be offered light duty. Again, we have to have an appropriate job available for them. I think that's all I have under this section. Anything anybody want to talk about more or needs further clarification? Okay. All right, then I will get these cleaned up for next week. Okay, all right.
Number 12, Wisconsin Assessment Monies Contractor Services Grant Awarded. Recommendation, listen to the presentation regarding the grants received for environmental site assessment on the Fort Drum property.
Did
So-
you need a motion on that last one?
No.
I don't think so. Just looking for your guys, you'll actually,
Oh,
vote
final
whether or not
motion
to
after.
approve next week, and I'll get it cleaned up for you and from there. For the, this is that Leon's grant that we talked about a while ago. As you know, the Fortnums, very generously upon their passing, bequeathed to the city the property that is next to the parking lot outside, the little grassy and tree area. Kind of looks like a little park.
Is that the one that has the cute little seats and buckets and stuff? Look past Modi.
Oh, okay, yeah, with the cat area and things. Yes.
People have cat houses there to protect the cats in the
So
winter.
it's currently privately owned. It's currently a privately owned property.
Oh, it is privately owned, okay. all right.
Yes, but
I love it.
But the bequeath, so as you guys, directed staff prior,
All right, there we go.
due diligence, we went ahead and, applied for this grant to have a phase 1, phase 2, done on the property. So phase 1 basically is just a history collection, and then if the history collection shows that there's a good reason, then they'll do testing in phase 2. And to be honest with this, parcel, it's been on the water for a really long time. It's been a lumberyard, it's been a factory, it's been all these other things. So, and from the limited conversation that we had earlier this week, I anticipate that they will suggest doing a phase 2 as well. So we have the.
All right, I just gotta back this up.
It was on the
So
news.
It's privately owned.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not ours right now. We haven't taken it.
They're doing the testing to see if we want to accept it. Because we weren't going to accept something if it was full of contaminants
And that we didn't know about.
that we didn't know about.
Currently it's private.
And it was gonna cost a lot of money for us to do the testing, so we applied for the grant, we were awarded the grant, as you probably all saw on the news.
I sent the email before that.
And she sent the yes. She did tell us about it, but it was all over the news that we were awarded this grant, and a lot of people have asked, where the heck is this? They didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
So, yes, we're doing all this testing to see if we want to accept the donation. So it's not ours yet.
And it's not.
Okay, on to number, anybody have any questions? Yeah, nothing.
Do we have to apply for phase 2? No, perfect.
Number 13 is discussion of senior center assistant cook position. Recommendation is discussion and action as appropriate.
So Sue obviously is much more, well involved in knowing how things operate at the senior center, but at this point, we have the incumbent of our cook that's been there for many years. And we have for many years gotten the bid to be the food preparer for the county's nutrition program. And so, we feel that it provides a lot of positive things for our community, having the conjugate meals at the, community center so people can get together and eat and enjoy and each other, and also brings people in for programming and gives us an opportunity to kind of check in on people, make sure they're doing all right once in a while, as well as this also provides the meals for, like, the Meals on Wheels. So those that qualify to have meals brought to them, as well. So the hope is that if we brought in someone part-time, if our current person were to leave unexpectedly or choose to retire, we would have somebody who knows the ins and outs and could continue on with the contract and hopefully continue to get the bid. So we anticipate them working 1 day a week, about 4 hours. And just so that they would be a backup, hopefully available if there was illness or to come in, especially for our big meals. I don't know if you've ever seen the Thanksgiving meal or the Christmas meal, but there was like, 80-some people for Thanksgiving this year. So, I mean, those days are very well attended. And otherwise, just to be there 1 day a week so that they stay very familiar with the process and all of those types of things. And that way, if the time should come that we need to hire for the cook position, the hope would be that person would either slide into it or help us train the person that does take it if they wish to maintain their very part-time, if that works really well for them. They don't want to move to half-time. So I've rambled on. I will turn it over to Sue, who knows more about it.
That was excellent. I really don't have much more to add to that. What we're hoping for is at 4 hours a week, at approximate salary, or excuse me, pay of $13.25 to $15 an hour. We're looking at, for the year, $2,912 roughly, which right now our nutrition program brings in about $3,000, a little over $3,000 a year. So we're hoping that that would be covered through that. And if not, we also have I don't know, $36,000, $38,000 right now in the nutrition budget that would back it up. I don't want to dip into it, that we're trying to save for a rainy day. You know, if our oven goes out, or our refrigerator, or freezer, those are not, you know, high dollar items. So we're really trying to hang on to those funds, but at least it would be there to help recover the cost of this part-time person.
Yeah, the assumption is, I mean, I put 35 as kind of the cap. She's got, you know, more exact numbers, but the assumption is that this would only really have to be covered by those days that are the 1 day a week when the cook is also there, which we hope to have a lot of, so they have overlap and people can often learn from each other. But if this person were there because the cook wasn't, took a vacation, you know.
Currently, doesn't Sue help in that area?
Yes, I did earn my ServSafe certification, so I am qualified to work in the kitchen, which I certainly am more than.
I'm just saying, if there's an emergency with the new software we're looking at getting, you should theoretically have a little bit more flex time to be able to help in that route. Because I ran multiple kitchens, and it takes more than 4 hours a day to learn how to document properly and all of these important things. Like, I don't know if 4 hours is gonna be enough to learn all those ins and outs. That's
This was discussed pretty deeply at the AG committee, who strongly approved of it, because over time, this person would gain a familiarity with the kitchen. Also, Sue was taken away from all of her daily, you know, work by having to step in and volunteer. And then when the cook herself was injured, they couldn't produce any food. So it was thought at the AG committee that it would be a huge benefit to have at least a backup.
When you were in Bryce, we couldn't produce any food. We were able to get meals out, correct? Not at the senior center.
Not at.
Right,
But we still provided food.
We contracted with a third party.
Yeah, contracted is what I meant. We couldn't produce
But-
food outside.
I don't, without trying, Christina, and I guess in their defense, that person, there might be a person out there that already has the experience and is just looking for a part-time job. So somebody that's gonna come into food service usually has a food service background or wants to be in it or has some kind of a background versus, you know, I just try to think of who might take these positions, you know, somebody that's only looking for 4 hours a week, that narrows the pool down a lot. But maybe there's,
I guess I was wondering if you'd get any applicants at all.
yeah, we've talked about that, we don't know,
Yeah, if we don't, then we've got
Especially what is the time frame in the middle of the day, correct? Because it's lunchtime, right?
7 to 11 is what we were working.
7 to 11 would be the hours. You see, this conversation started when our current cook was chosen for jury duty. She could have been out a day, she could have been out a week, she could have been out, you know, who knows how long she would have been out. And even though I am qualified and can certainly fill in, if it gets to any extended period of time, there's no way that I can be cooking and be the director of the senior center all at the same time.
anybody else?
I mean, I like the fact that they have identified where the funds will come from to pay for the assistant cook. And if there's somebody out there who thinks, you know, this is exactly what I was looking for, just a quick little small thing to bring in some income, but it would also help the senior center in a pinch, I'm all for it. I would make a motion to recommend common council the approval of the hiring of a senior center assistant cook.
Motion by Victoria, is there a second? Is there a second? One last time, is there any seconds?
The funds.
All right, the
in our
motion
budget.
fails. Is there any other discussion or any other motions anybody would like, or anything you guys want to discuss? Any questions?
Is there a reason that you would not approve this?
I mean, I think worst case scenario, somebody just doesn't apply. I mean, then okay, we tried, you tried. That's not a desirable time or position that somebody's looking for, and it's gonna be hard to fill, let me know. I personally don't think it's a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to have somebody that could start to shadow or potentially train or.
I guess in my thought, like I already said, for me, it's as a supervisor, your role is to step into these positions. If you have an employee who's not there, that's your role to step in and help however you can. And if it's just a week, okay. And if it's longer, then we reevaluate, we hire someone.
Well, I think what you're
We
also,
don't want to dip into your funds that are needed for the senior center.
Well, and I will say this, I did speak with the current cook about this, and she was pretty happy to hear that we were looking at doing something like this. In her words, I haven't had a vacation day in many years. So she doesn't have the opportunity to get vacation time. So these are all things that I guess should be taken into consideration with that as well.
and Sue, didn't you mention that she's also looking forward to retirement at some
She
point? So the assistant position would be more to prep that person to hopefully eventually step
I'm
in.
working 4 hours a week, you're not looking for a full-time position.
I mean, it could be, what if it's a stay-at-home mom that's looking to, just to get out of the house? That's who I see taking a position like this, is somebody that either didn't need the job but needs to get out of the house once in a while, and this is a good way to get them back into the public, and maybe that's getting them back into working full-time. I don't know,
This is just my opinion on it. I guess if we saw increased foot traffic going in there, if we had ideas of how to get more meals coming out, then I'd be more for it. But right now, from what we know, the trends have been going down of people going in there besides holidays. So that's just my.
I disagree. I have numbers that show otherwise. Our numbers are increasing, our activities are increasing, so I don't know.
I will say that just my time that I have been in there, it is a full house. It is, I think, we are coming back up from that roller coaster, and it's nice to see so many faces there that maybe weren't there in the past, but
I guess if the Berlin Senior Center leadership, aging committee have all agreed, that the cook have all agreed that this is a good direction, and the money has been identified, I guess I'm failing to see the problem outside of Sue should be able to step in and take it over.
so would this be a line item next year that we would continue? We're not gonna continually take from that fund, right?
It is, from looking at what we bring in for the nutrition each year, we feel that there's about 3,000 that have been put into that fund for, replacement of this kind of our emergency that we kind of have there, that $38,000. We would not have to dip into that because we would be at, or maybe a little less than that, with the anticipated wages.
So right now, anything being brought in from the nutrition program that has already been brought in from the nutrition program was part of that $38,000. So the $3,000 that you identified for filling this position for the rest of the year is actually the nutrition program money that will no longer be going into the fund to replace equipment.
Right. I mean, like I said, we're already at, I believe it's around 38,000 in that account right now. So moving forward, the additional $3,000 that would come extra into that account would now go towards a part-time cook.
I guess I don't like that long-term plan then. That we're just constantly using the savings, basically in a nutshell.
No.
We're
it's
just
no
would be
longer
saving.
building.
We're not saving, well, that's what I'm saying, we're using that savings for, we're not building that savings up anymore.
But what other department creates a savings for their missed equipment, for their old equipment? I mean, the fact that they even have it is a boon.
And I'm not, I think it would be, I thought it was a good idea, I didn't think it was a,
No, I'm just saying, if it's contingent because we want them to keep building up a savings, we don't require any other department to save, for their next thing, their next failure.
I'm certainly not opposed to stepping in when needed. As a matter of fact, I have to do it Thursday. So I'm not opposed to doing it. It's just that this is something that would ensure that if it is for a long term, we would have somebody there that would be able to either fill in, or her and I, she and I, or he could trade off if that person didn't want to work all the days. So it's not like I would never, ever step in, because I certainly would.
okay, does anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, I think this is,
I mean, you can't really do anything
No.
tonight.
there's nothing else to be done tonight. There's no action, and the motion failed, so. Does anybody need to see anything else, or are we just postponing this?
Well, I guess my question to the committee would be, what needs to be ameliorated for this to pass? What needs to be addressed? What action item can Sue take or the aging committee take to address this? That's currently a sticking point.
I guess I'm with Christina right now. I can't see somebody learning a whole lot at 4 hours a week. And it is in a supervisory. I mean, I understand not stepping in for an extended period of time, I get that, but for somebody to say that they haven't had vacation and they don't remember when, I also feel like you're a part-time employee, and part of being part-time is that you should be able to kind of make your own hours, and if you wanna take a vacation, you should be able to step in and cover that. So whether that was something she put on herself or was put on her, that's not really on me. Is there anyone else in that kitchen? I thought there was a couple dishwashers.
We have one very part-time dishwasher. She's there half hour, 45 minutes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay, but otherwise it's just a couple.
So, I mean, I guess our thought was to be prepared to go for the next bid. We're not certain if we'll be in a position to bid for the next contract in June. I'm uncertain of.
Did we ever
future
go back
plans
to
of our
before? Or the issue is because we're uncertain of the future with our current cook?
Our current cook is at a stage in life where she could determine.
I know, but why are we at risk of getting the next bid? You can't plan for the,
Right, if,
we've always gotten the bid with just one cook. So why would we be at risk
Of not getting the
of not getting the bid?
of the,
Well, if she decides to retire,
But anybody could decide to retire.
yes,
And so we would hire somebody.
we
Wouldn't you
could,
then fill her
Yeah.
position, which is at more than 4 hours a week?
We would,
yes, we would, but there would be no continuity or,
But we don't have that with any other
you don't have, yeah,
departments.
well, I don't,
as I'm talking through this, like you don't, that's not available in any other department.
well, other departments sometimes have multiple people in the roles.
I have an assistant. If something were to happen to me, she could step in and take over with ease. I think that's what you want for a department.
Is she certified?
She's not.
maybe that's not.
Okay, well, I did not want to exceed a 2-hour meeting, so can we put this on the agenda for next month?
Okay.
And, we'll have to revisit, and I would like to have some kind of is there anything that needs to change? I don't want to talk in circles again.
I think all the points we brought up, if we could, not always dipping into the funds to do it, some answers that way, like a long-term plan, if this is something we're gonna go forward with.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to number 14 is discussion of city website ADA compliance requirements. Jesse, if you, in a nutshell, it's all in the packet. In a nutshell, the current website would not be considered ADA compliant, and has to be compliant by April 26th of 27, so we have another year. All the fact sheets, all the stuff is attached, and for our website designer to go through the website and run basically a scan of, okay, what all does not meet compliance. We're talking 1,200 to 2,500 range, or no, sorry. Was that the scan? Yes.
Yes, that's the scan, and then it is quite, he's identified that we're gonna have to change basically our template. Because like our color scheme and our fonts and stuff are not ADA compliant.
Which is a great
So
time
that's
to
why
rebrand
it's-
anyways.
That's why it's more that first year, because you're gonna have to make some, it's anticipated we're gonna have to make some significant changes.
How much is the website yearly anyways?
So they're saying 800 to 1,000 annually to maintain compliance,
Is that on
but that's
top
just
of,
compliance, right?
or is that 800 to 1,000 annually on top of what we already pay, or is that part of what we're paying? That's what I'm getting at.
Yes, because they would continually run that software and make any updates. So it's anticipated that monthly, they would run that software and recrawl it and see if there's anything that needs to be updated to maintain compliance.
So it's basically a program that runs in the background to make sure that it is.
Yes.
Okay. I was not sure I was understanding that.
Yes,
Like in a nutshell, if there's something like a picture with words on it, somebody who was with disabilities and was trying to use their equipment or whatever to read it or have the website read, they can't read that stuff.
No, I was talking about the 800.
Oh, yeah, no, that's on top of what.
yeah, that's to continue, to make sure that we stay in compliance, to continually go out there and recheck and fix anything that's not in compliance.
Where is this gonna come out?
We just have to absorb out of our IT budget. I know,
The non-existent one?
I didn't know this was coming,
Yeah.
but we don't have a choice,
We can't, we have to do it, so.
we have to do it, it's federally required.
Okay, so do you need action on this? This is action as appropriate.
I'll make a motion to direct staff to work with the website host to move forward with the plan and implementation to bring the city's website into ADA compliance.
I'll second that.
Motion by Sam, second by Terry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 15 is League of Wisconsin Spring Exchange. Recommendation is listen to the presentation. Basically, Jesse's got a conference coming up that is paid for, and we are encouraging her to go.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know that as part of being in the league and being insured through the league, they pay for both the registration and the accommodations. So it's literally just mileage for this conference. So. It's a,
Go
you know
learn.
you're getting a perk there.
Learn lots, including how to keep us out of debt.
We gotta get there first.
I know.
Have
Okay.
a green
Number 16.
Morning to adjourn.
Missy, and then Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 9:15.
might take a half day long.
Well, the inclusive year.